everyone, and welcome to my channel. Welcome back, Star Family. This pick a card reading is going to focus on your person, whoever it is that you have in mind. Maybe a love situation, maybe somebody close to you. Perhaps you're wondering, what is it that they would have done differently now that time has gone by? You know, the whole concept of hindsight 2020. It's only now that time has gone by can we, really look at a situation and see what it was that we would have changed or done differently. So what is it that your person would do differently if they had the chance now that time has gone by? This particular pick a card was suggested in the comment section, so thank you very much for your lovely suggestion. I do read the comments, and I do take into mind when you guys drop me a topic here and there. I do consider them, okay? So just keep that in mind. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to see. I will always take it into consideration, okay? So thank you for that lovely suggestion. And that is what this reading will be for you. So if you haven't had a chance as of yet to go pick a card stack at this time, please go back to the very beginning of the video. There's going to be timestamps in the description box, and if I remember in the comment section, if I remember to put them there, they will also be in the comment section. There's a portion there for silent meditation where you could take as much time as you need to focus on the card or the stack or whatever it is that you feel drawn to the most. I always say if during that time you feel led to pick more than one stack, please listen to your intuition. That's always going to be encouraged here. Pick more than one if that's what your heart tells you to do. Readings are also timeless, so whether you watch it now at the upload time or weeks down the road, months down the road, days, whatever, doesn't matter. Whenever it's placed into your awareness, that's probably when it's going to have a message for you. But I would say listen to the nudge, right? Listen to the internal nudge. If you feel that nudge to watch, there's probably a message there for you. And I always say if this particular pick a card doesn't resonate or connect, feel free to explore my pick a card playlist because I have a whole bunch of them there. You can have fun exploring. Maybe you'll find another one that will connect better. And if I'm not the reader for you, that's okay too, because YouTube has so many other readers out there. I'm pretty sure there's going to be one. There has to be one out there, right? That's going to have the messages that you're looking for this time around. When it comes to a love reading, roles can be reversed, flip-flopped, interchangeable, vice versa. So keep that in mind when you're watching. There might be things that would describe you, then other things might talk more about your person. So keep that in mind when you're watching. And if something doesn't fit, don't make it fit, right? Because at the end of the day, these readings are general and I can't possibly expect to connect with every single person out there watching, okay? So much love to you wherever you are in the world. Take care of yourselves, and I'm going to go ahead and get directly into stack number one. Stack number one, you chose the Ace of Pentacles. I'm just going to put that there. That'll be like a physical representation of the reading of your choice. So today we're looking at your person. What would they have done differently if they had a chance to do it all over again? Looking back, hindsight, what would they do differently now that time has gone by? Okay, so let's go ahead, and I think I'm going to start first with an oracle. All right, so let's see. Your person, stack number one viewers, what would they have, what would they do differently right now that time has gone by? If they had a chance to do it all over again, what would they do differently in your situation with them? One card. All right, look at that. Wow. They would change. It says, I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement. So they would definitely change some things, right? Let's take a look. Let's see if we can get some tarot here. Oh, yes, and by the way, I forgot to mention Dark Mansion Tarot. This was suggested by the same viewer that recommended I do this reading, okay? So this is one of my babies. I don't really bring this deck out too often just because it's precious to me. It was a gift and I don't want to mess it up or ruin it. So let's see, your person, what would they do differently now that time has gone by? We already know they would change, but maybe we could find out what, all right? Maybe themselves, maybe something they did. Let's see. 3 cards. All right. So we have the King of Wands. This could be Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. Maybe that's your person. Maybe that's you. Wow. We have the Ace of Cups. Holy cow. The Ace of Pentacles. Wow. So you have Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles. All right. This is pretty fascinating. All right, so according to this reading, your person, if they had the chance to do it all over again, would literally give this love a shot, okay? They would maybe work up the courage or the confidence, because the King of Wands energy is that. They would work up the courage and the confidence. Maybe they lacked the confidence before in some way, maybe to pursue it, because the King of Wands energy is always about pursuit and passion. It's go-get-em energy. It's about going after what you want by any means necessary. It's this fire, this spark, this passion, this drive. It's the will, right? And the inspiration to go after whatever it is that you want and not really give up until you conquer it or achieve it. So when we have the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles together, it's like it almost feels like they didn't give it the opportunity that it had the potential to become. There was love here, right? And there was an open door. I feel like your person gave it the open door, but maybe there was something that they lacked as far as confidence, is what I'm getting from the King of Wands, that maybe they failed to walk through that door, or maybe take that chance with you, or maybe they failed to express the love or the passion that was there brewing in the situation, because there was definitely love and emotion here. And there was a potential to see this Ace of Pentacles like grow and become something more stable, solid, tangible, right? The Ace of Pentacles is like that initial energy investment, right? So I'm kind of feeling that maybe it was new, it started off, it was about to become something, but then maybe didn't get a chance to develop into what it could have, okay? So I just keep hearing the idea that they didn't take a chance, or they didn't give it a shot. They didn't walk through the door that was open to them. So you might have also been handing them your Ace of Cups, like literally you were ready to open that door for them had they just taken it. I kind of feel like with the Ace of Pentacles, this energy is always like a blessing, you know, that comes out of nowhere. Sometimes the universe is trying to hand you that open door, or hand you that Ace of Cups or that new love. But sometimes, you know, if you're in a situation, you're not really seeing it for what it is at the time. And it kind of feels like the King of Wands energy would have recognized the opportunity in this love match, and that's what they would change. They would maybe open up their eyes a little bit more. Maybe they weren't recognizing you, stack number one viewer, for the kind of love that you were trying to offer them, and the potential that it could have had. So let's see. I hope I don't have this whole thing upside down. Not that any of them are red reversed, but let's see. Let's see if we can get one of these little cards here. What was that? Oh, look at that. Yep. The bell is all about being made aware of something. It's having a wake-up call. Okay, you know how when your alarm goes off, or let's say the school bell rings and you're told to come inside from recess. Okay, it's an announcement of some sort, a warning, you're made aware, right? So it's kind of like they didn't have an awareness at the time, and it's this feeling of I would have had my eyes open. That's what I would change, that I would be more aware, maybe more in tune. Mushroom energy talks about being more decisive. Okay, so right away the idea of your person wasn't really being completely decisive. They probably made a poor decision, or they were not really focusing enough to discern what was the best course of action for them. Because when you think of mushrooms, they grow in the wild. You can forage for them, right? And you have to be very, very careful. You can vacillate a little bit back and forth, back and forth. Is this safe to eat? You know, maybe I should leave that one alone. Is it poisonous? Is this something I can use for medicine? Like there's, you know, you have to be very careful when you identify them, right? So I kind of feel like your person vacillated a lot like back and forth, couldn't really decide what was the right thing to do in regards to the connection. Should they, you know, approach it? Should they give it a chance? Should they open themselves up to receive maybe the love that was being offered? Should they take a chance? Should they walk through that door with you? Maybe they were lacking confidence also, which could have been a hindrance or a blockage as to why they maybe, I'll just put it out there, maybe they didn't feel worthy of what you were offering, right? Because if you lack confidence, sometimes if you even lack self-love, you know, it's, what's that quote? I don't know who it's by, but it makes perfect sense to me whenever I hear it. It goes, sometimes we only accept the love that we think we deserve, okay? Or that we only accept the love that we think we're worthy of, or something like that. And it's true, if you don't feel you're worthy, someone's showering you with love, let's say, but inside you're struggling with self-love, you're gonna maybe find it difficult to accept the unconditional love that someone else is trying to offer you, right? So it's this feeling of they weren't aware or awake, and it's only hindsight now that they look back on it, they're like, oh man, you know, that was a good one. I had it right there. I had that in my hands, and I let that slip through my fingers. That energy of the mushroom is really confirming the idea that at the time they might not have been willing to take. Again, if you're picking mushrooms, you're taking a risk if you're not knowing how to identify them. So I was right in saying that when I was just looking at the 3 tarot cards, but definitely it is a risk, and they weren't secure enough in themselves or sure enough in themselves to be decisive enough to make a choice or choose an action. So it kind of feels like they let it slip through their fingers with the connection that you guys had. Again, they weren't aware. They weren't maybe awake enough spiritually even to recognize what was there with that Ace of Cups the whole time with you. Okay. Lotus flower energy, it's all about evolving, and you have that here in the card too. I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement. Maybe they weren't spiritually evolved or awake at the time to recognize what was on offer. Again, but now hindsight, they can say, yeah, you know, that person was different. You know, maybe I really should have given that a shot. Who knows what it could have become. Well, it looks like with the 2 aces here, it had really very, very strong potential to be something tangible, real, and full of love, right? With the Ace of Cups. So, and you know what? I'm also getting the vibe that maybe they weren't ready to open. Again, I always look at the Ace of Pentacles like an open door or portal. It kind of feels like they weren't ready to maybe open their heart as well with the Ace of Cups. Hesitant, right? Hesitant with the mushroom energy. Maybe not spiritually awake or aware enough to recognize it for what it was, but maybe struggling to open up that door, open up that heart chakra and walk through it. You know, it takes a certain level of confidence, right, to relinquish a little bit fears when it comes to love and make yourself vulnerable in order to open up. So it kind of does feel like that's what was happening here. So let's take a look. I'm going to grab one of these. So what they would do differently, basically, is they would work up the courage. They would take a chance. They would be more willing to open up, right, to see where it could have went. They wouldn't hesitate the second time around. If they could do it differently, they wouldn't hesitate. They would give it a chance or a shot to see where it could go. And they would change their mindset a little bit too, is what I'm also getting. They would be a little bit more decisive. Okay, so it says not dealing with hurt, avoiding a conversation, a call, maybe a person, boundaries, still angry. So I don't know if they were, again, the idea of boundaries, right, is kind of what I was feeling like. If they didn't want to open up their heart enough to accept what was being offered to them, that is a boundary. maybe they were avoiding, right? Because whenever I look at this, it's like, talk to the hand, like they were avoiding, not that they were saying that to you, but I'm just saying it's like an avoidant energy, right? Avoiding, they were avoiding, right? They didn't want to deal, or maybe they didn't want to make themselves vulnerable enough to, you know, to open up themselves to love. And, you know, when you do that, you are taking a risk, like the mushroom energy. So to me, I'm not feeling the anger so much. What I'm getting from this is basically they were avoiding making themselves vulnerable, right? Maybe they didn't want to get hurt. Maybe they didn't want to walk through that door and open themselves up to receive what was on offer. They were setting healthy boundaries or putting their walls up, right? And I'm just getting the vibe of neglectful, right? Not wanting to really give you maybe the attention that you deserved. Obviously, I think what you were feeling was sincere with the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. Again, Emperor energy does kind of tend to protect his kingdom. Matter of fact, any of the kings are like that. So sometimes I can see them as an energy of defense, and that would explain why they were maybe avoiding opening up their heart, like I said earlier. So yeah, I could definitely see how that would apply. So I'm going to take one more card. I'm going to finish this up for you. Let's see, what else would they do differently? Now the time has gone by. What would they do? What would they change? Let's see. Another thing, I don't know if maybe somebody blocked somebody else, right? And if they were avoiding conversations, maybe even deeper conversations with that. Again, when you have deeper conversation, you know, conversation is one way that you can bond with somebody. So maybe they weren't really opening themselves up communication-wise either to forge that bond. That's a possibility too, but let me see. Now the time has gone by, what would they do differently? Oh, look at that. See, beginning and a fresh start. So we have two cards here of beginnings, right? So if they had a chance to do it over, they would start over, they would start fresh, right? They would give it a shot. Definitely. That's what I was picking up. They would be more aware, right? They would give you a chance. They would give it a shot, and they would literally take that risk if they could do it over. So this is definitely confirming what I was feeling from the two aces here for you. So I also am getting the vibe that maybe, again, they lacked that push that they needed, right, to take a chance, like the King of Wands normally would, come hell or high water, that the energy, you know, is a go get 'em. And then they might have also, right, neglected to, I don't know why I keep hearing that word, but maybe just neglecting to, you know, have deeper conversations or speak their truth or tell the truth maybe about even how they felt, right? I think there was feelings here brewing, but I also feel at the same time that they were putting the walls up and not allowing themselves to really be vulnerable enough to kind of get close at the same time. So it's like, now hindsight, had they been a little bit more decisive, it could have went somewhere and developed into something beautiful. Had they just been a little bit more leveled up and awake at the time, they could have recognized what was right in front of them, but they didn't. Okay, so if they could do it over, they would definitely give it a shot or give it a fresh start or start over, right, from the beginning. They could look back and see now what it was that they messed up at the time, and they would tweak those things for sure. They would change the little nuances, maybe even about themselves, that created barriers or boundaries from the love, right, that was being offered. So stack number one, this is your reading. I'm going to leave you here. I hope that you're safe wherever you are and that you are protected. So If you feel that this reading has helped or maybe confirmed something for you, please let me know in the comment section down below, because I do like hearing from everybody. And if you want to support this channel further, consider liking, sharing, subscribing, also clicking that bell for notifications so that way you don't miss videos, because I upload pretty often. And if you want to book a personal reading with me, all you have to do is check me out on Etsy, see what readings I have available, and you could book a reading whenever you're guided to. So I'll leave you here, sending love again wherever you are. Take care of yourselves and keep shining. Stack number 2, you chose the Ace of Wands. I'm going to leave that here as kind of like a physical representation of the reading that you've chosen. So today we're looking at your person. We want to take a look at, now the time has gone by, what would they do differently? What would they change perhaps? So I'm going to start first with an oracle card. Let's take a look. So stack number 2, viewers, your person, what would they do differently now that time has gone by? Hindsight, you know, it's just one of those things. Hindsight 2020, right? It's only after time has gone by can we see what we could do differently. But let's take a look at your person. Let's see what they would change, what they would do differently. Oh, okay. So it says, guilt. I release any beliefs that no longer assist in my soul's growth. Okay, maybe they were guilty for something. I don't know. Let's see. What would they do differently for stack number 2, viewers, your person, now that time has gone by? Okay, the 6 of Wands. Hold on a second here. We have the Hermit. These like to stick together, by the way. Oh, wow, the Star. Interesting. Okay, so what I'm getting from this is that your person feels guilty that they didn't take the time to overcome the obstacles with you with the 6 of Wands. Okay, 6 of Wands is triumph over adversity. It is success, achievement, right? Sometimes even getting recognized or getting accolades for something. So it kind of feels like your person has some guilt that they have been dealing with. Your person could also be an Aquarius with the Star energy. I always forget what the Hermit is. For whatever reason, I always want to associate him with Virgo, but I don't know why. Anyway, I could be wrong. But what this is feeling like is that they feel guilty for not having overcome the obstacles with you. I guess maybe at the time, I don't know why I'm hearing they ran from the problems. Maybe it's the Hermit that's giving me that feeling, because the Hermit also is an energy that goes into hiding, right? I don't know. I don't necessarily associate the Hermit with running away from problems, but that's what I heard. But yeah, it's like maybe running away from the problems. Maybe that was easy. It was easier for them to hide, avoid, than to deal, right? That's the Hermit energy, goes into hiding, kind of takes a time out. It's a non-action card. So I'm kind of getting the vibe from this situation that maybe you and your person aren't talking anymore. Whenever I see the Hermit, 2 of Swords, 4 of Swords, sometimes the Hangman and the High Priestess even sometimes, always reminds me of like not talking, right? Things are kind of on the low. You might not hear from them for a while. You might take a time out from a relationship with those cards. I don't know if even, hey, it could be so far as maybe your person ghosted, right? But what this is feeling like is, yeah, they didn't see, okay, I'm also hearing they didn't see the signs. They didn't see the syncs. They didn't see the synchronicities. They didn't see, they didn't see the I almost want to say the soul connection that you guys might have had at the time. Maybe, I don't know. I guess that all the stars are kind of giving me the vibe of, you know, divinity, the way that we are connected to the stars and all that. And it's also energy of kind of being at a distance. So this energy is at a distance, that energy is at a distance. What they would do differently is that they would maybe look, I know this is weird, but like look at you differently. They would take a closer look at what was being shown to them through perhaps the connection and what the universe was trying to teach them. Because the star to me is always about divine guidance and being led in a certain direction, and sometimes it's purposeful. You know what I mean? That is that energy to me. It's purposeful. It's never a coincidence. It's synchronicity. It's confirmation. It's all those things with the star. So it kind of feels to me that they couldn't see the lesson for what it was at the time. They feel guilty for not having given it a shot, or having, they feel guilty for not having overcome the obstacles, because it kind of feels like you could have had something successful here as well with the star. The star energy, though, when you look at it, you got to consider the stars are way up high. They're unapproachable. They're beautiful, right? You can't touch them, but you wish for them. It is this feeling coming from them towards you, in a sense that you're this elusive thing now. They admire you at a distance. They admire you from afar. And that's pretty much all they can do. So if they have any kind of access to your social media, because sometimes it talks about fame and being noticed, and so does the Six of Wands, actually. So they might admire you from a distance. That's all they can do. They've gone into hiding from you, or they've closed themselves off from you. They feel guilty for having done that, having run away. So your person might be a runner, okay? They feel guilty for running away and not having really tried to get through it, whatever the issues were. And now they're left just admiring and maybe even feeling a little left out. But beside all that, like I felt earlier, they didn't see the lesson for what it was at the time, kind of thing, right? But the Hermit is an energy of soul searching. So it kind of feels to me that they had to go through that in order to learn something. Maybe in the separation, because I don't think you're with this person now. I don't think you even may have had recent contact with them. This definitely does feel like you went your way, they went their way, but there was a reason for that. Maybe you had to grow, maybe they had to grow. You both had to see the lesson for what it was, maybe apart rather than together. And the star energy is saying that whatever you experienced with them and them with you, it was necessary for the journey, right? And maybe in order to dig deep into the soul, into the self, is what I'm getting from this. But they do have regrets of not trying hard enough, or at the time running away from maybe the way that you confronted them, right? Just with your sheer presence is kind of what I'm getting. Sometimes soulmates will do that to each other. Just being around them, it becomes confrontational. Just because, we trigger each other, don't we? So you have the tree, the sun, and the wish energy, okay? So the tree energy is all about growth, right? So trees grow, they try to reach new heights, they try to evolve, they try to level up, and that's kind of the feeling of what I was picking up, right? It was, whatever this was, they didn't fight for it at the time. Maybe they walked away from it, they let it be, or they kind of ran from it, but that running was probably necessary for their own soul searching, their own healing, their own growth. Maybe they were, because it talks about seasons too, like, winter, spring, summer, fall. And sometimes with this energy, people come into your life for a season. They're not here for the whole novel of your life, right? They're only here for a small chapter and then they leave. So I wonder if this person was you know, that's what it was. Maybe they were in your life for a very short time, but also made an impact, right? So there was something in this situation that was necessary for leveling up and growth. And it's like now that time has gone by, they can see that. With the sun energy, again, the idea of success, you know, they wish, again, the wish energy, right? They wish that they would have achieved something with you, or they would have overcome whatever adversity it was, to have conquered the troubles. I think they might have been in a dark place at the time, because the sun comes out to enlighten you, right, on a subject. And I feel like at the time they weren't seeing with the sun, but now the time has gone by and they've grown over here with the tree. Maybe they can see better now, right? They can see better now. They can see what it was, what it wasn't. You know, this is all about, in this deck, it's all about mental clarity. High vibe energy. And it sometimes talks about friendship too. So you might have, you know, had a friendship connection there, or a strong bond that was starting to form. Maybe there were issues, but again, they ran from them. But I think the running was necessary, maybe for them to evolve and grow and have some form of enlightenment after the fact. And then again, the idea of wishing, right? Now that time has gone by, they definitely wish they would have stuck it out and worked through the problems. It's almost like this feeling of, if I knew then what I know now, right? That's where this is coming from. And then we have the wish, you know, it just talks about hoping for something, wishing for something. They wish they could do things differently. The star energy talks about wish fulfillment. And then we have the wish card. So maybe now the time has gone by, they see you as wish fulfillment too. And this idea of wish I would have known then what I know now. Maybe they see you for the role that you played in their life in some way. I think you taught them something in the process of that connection. And it's like, looking back, they wish they would have seen you for who you were and done something to work on it. I think you're their one regret. Oh man, that's deep, but that's kind of what I'm feeling. You are their one regret. You might be their wish fulfillment. They feel guilty for not having seen the light sooner. And this energy definitely talks about something impossible sometimes. It can talk about the or wishing or hoping for the impossible. So with that being said, now that they look back on it, there's this feeling of, there's no way I can ever have that back again. Like, to wish for you, stack number 2 viewer, and to wish to fix what was wrong or what they didn't fight for at the time is probably next to impossible. I hope I'm articulating myself. For whatever reason, I feel like I'm like struggling to form a sentence in my head and articulate it. Basically, yeah, because the star is about hope and faith too. So when this talks about the impossible, it's like hoping or wishing for the impossible. Like I said, you're their one regret, right? So they regret not working on it, not fixing it, not sticking around. So that's what they would do different. They would stick it out. They would work on it. They would try to overcome the problems or the obstacles and not run from it this time around. And it's like, now looking back on it, they see you know, even trying to maybe to get you back or any of that would be nearly next to impossible. Maybe too much time has gone by, too much distance between you here with the Hermit. Again, now all they can do is look at you from afar. That's all they're really left with. And they feel guilty for the way they handled it is another thing. Maybe wish they would have handled it better. Oh, okay. Cupid's arrow, have faith, love is coming, surprise, invitation, or meeting, hesitation. So again, if all they're doing is admiring you from afar, and they think that maybe fixing it would be next to impossible, or there's no hope for, right, for the future, let's say, they hesitate. They definitely do hesitate. Love did strike with the Cupid's arrow. I don't know why I feel like they might consider reaching out to you, or they have considered it, but they hesitate. Because it says invitation or meeting, love is coming, right? So it kind of feels like they have considered sending that arrow out or shooting that arrow again, but over here, they feel that it's like next to impossible. Like that wish is kind of asking for a lot. That's kind of what this feels like. So you have two cards of faith, right? Faith with the Cupid arrow. And then you have the Star. So I'm kind of wondering if your person secretly wishes or hopes for a second chance. It does feel like a divine connection. But they ran from it, and it's only now that they've evolved and grown that they have gained some enlightenment and done a lot of soul searching and maybe even healing with the Star. See if I can get one of these. Just one of these, please. Oh! Okay, these cards are on point today. I mentioned enlightenment with the Sun. Whoa, so your person had to go through their spiritual growth, right? They had to access their spiritual growth, gain some enlightenment in the midst of running away or hiding from the connection. And now that they look back on it, they're like, wow, now they recognize you for who you were at the time. They recognize that divine connection or that spiritual connection, right? For what it was. But there's this underlying feeling of all I can do is look at you from afar, because there's no way in hell, right, that I could have access to you or something like that. So I'll stay in hiding. I'll kind of look at you at a distance, admire you, wish for you, hesitate, right? And maybe wallow in my guilt a little bit too, because we have this card. They really feel guilty for the way they handled it. So stack number 2, I'm going to leave you here. This is your reading. If you feel that this has connected for you in some way, please do let me know in the comment section down below, because I like hearing from everybody. And if you want to support this channel further, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, clicking that bell for notification as well, so you never miss a video, because I upload pretty often. And if you want to book a personal reading with me, all you have to do is check me out on Etsy, see what readings I have available, and you can book a reading whenever you're guided to. So I'm going to leave you here, send you much love wherever you are. Please be safe. I hope you're protected and well, and ultimately keep shining. Stack number 3, you chose Ace of Hearts, Ace of Cups. I'm going to just put that there. That's just a physical representation of the pile of your choice. So today we're looking at your person. What would they do differently now that time has gone by? If they had a chance to do it over again, what would they change? What would they do differently? So let's go ahead and get right into this. Let's find out what is it that they would change? What would they do differently now that time has gone by? Your person, stack number 3 viewers. See if we can get one card. Okay, so it says acceptance. I'm learning to accept the things I cannot change. Okay, that sounds like a present energy, right? So let's see if we can get three cards for stack number 3 viewers. What would your person do differently now the time has gone by? You know, the great gift of hindsight 2020. Let's see. What would they do differently? Oh, all right. So what do we have? The Two of Swords. Let's see if we can get 2 more cards. Justice. And the Eight of Pentacles. Okay, so we have the Justice energy. Somebody could be Libra. What I'm getting from this is if they had the chance to do it over, they might invest a little bit more energy into the situation than they had at the time. With the Eight of Pentacles, they probably would have treated you a little bit more fairly, maybe had come to a decision sooner, right? For whatever reason, I'm getting the feeling from that Two of Swords that it was an energy of, you know, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to sit and do nothing. They just chose not to act on it. Act on the connection, or act on the relationship, maybe take action on it in some way. Because the Eight of Pentacles does definitely talk about investing energy, time, resources, putting the work in. And the Two of Swords is just sometimes a stalemate energy. When you don't know what to do, you have to sit on it. You have to think about it. Maybe they thought about it too long. And it could have been with the Justice energy, somebody decided, you know what I mean? You're wasting my time, or you're taking too long to decide what you want from this connection, so I'm just going to cut my losses now. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from the Justice energy. With the Acceptance energy, I don't know why I'm getting like an ultimatum. So I don't know, stack number 3, if you gave your person an ultimatum in some way with that Two of Swords and the Justice together. Oh my gosh. You know what I want to say so bad? Shit or get off the pot, in other words. Like, that's how this feels. I know that's so bad. Maybe that was the situation, stack number 3 viewer. I don't know. Like, it kind of feels like this shit or get off the pot. Like, what are we doing here? I feel like somebody gave an ultimatum. Like, what are we doing here? And there was a choice to be made, because the Two of Swords does talk about a choice, a decision. Somebody had to make a decision. Justice energy does talk about that. Sometimes it's about deliberation, waiting for a final outcome. It does talk about karma, balancing the scales, righting the wrongs. So I kind of wonder if they had the chance to do it over, you know, would they fix it? Would they right the wrongs? Would they get out of a stalemate with you here with the Two of Swords and decide to do something about it? They hesitated too long, and didn't put the effort in with the Eight of Pentacles. I feel like it got to a point where somebody decided to just walk away because it's like not worth the time. I'm also getting the vibe that you might have presented not just an ultimatum, but maybe an alternative or some form of compromise, because the Justice does talk about finding balance and equal ground, right? You try to find equilibrium. So you might have offered a compromise, and maybe they didn't accept that compromise. And I think if they could do it differently, they would reconsider they would reconsider what was brought to them or put on the table in front of them, right? So if you presented to them something, maybe you presented a solution here with the Justice energy, and some form of compromise, I think they would accept it. This, you know, if they had the chance to do it over, they would accept it, and they would try to work it out, put equal energy into it. Maybe it wasn't a reciprocal situation, or it wasn't equal give and take. They would, with the Two of Swords, they would definitely decide differently. And they would accept a compromise. They would try to fix it or right the wrongs. Here's the fixing, right? And working on it. Here's the energy of righting the wrongs and deciding to right the wrongs, deciding to fix it. They would accept the compromise. Kind of feels to me that maybe they didn't do that, and they didn't do it when they had the chance, and I think they recognize that. And there's also this feeling of like, I can't go back now. Again, acceptance. I'm learning to accept the things I cannot change. So let's see. Now the time has gone by. What would they do differently? These are like so tiny. Oh, okay, we have 3. Haha, look at that, the worker bee. Yep. That's an energy of labor and working on it. Okay. Definitely with the bee energy. We have the bee, the stick, and the mirror. So the bee definitely is about putting the work in with that 8 of Pentacles. All right, I think had they just put a little bit more energy into the connection, taking action, right, toward it. Again, sometimes this is an energy of non-action with the 2 of Swords. You sit and do nothing, but you don't know what to do. You don't do anything at all. You don't take any action when action is needed. So definitely this energy is just confirming the fact that if they could do it over, they would actually do something. Sometimes this can talk about communication. So again, they would talk it out. They would work it out. The stick energy. It definitely, this energy sometimes talks about power. Right? I think there could have been a power struggle. Oh yeah, definitely with the mirroring energy here. And again, imbalances, if there were imbalances. So they would have worked on it, worked through the differences, maybe not let the power struggle or the mirroring get to them so much, because that's what this energy is all about with the stick and then the mirror, definitely. So I think you guys were just mirroring each other a lot, and that caused some of the imbalances in the connection. Sometimes this talks about going it alone. So maybe your person just decided to go their own way, and maybe since then, right, because a mirror is reflective, since time has gone by, they've done a lot of self-reflection, reevaluating, right? Maybe they have a different perspective over the entirety of the situation, but at the same time, they recognize that they should have compromised in some way, or they should have worked on it in some way, but they realize that they have to just accept what they can't change too. So let's see if we can get one of these. These little cards act like a little bit of a puzzle, right? Because you have to piece it together like a puzzle when you read it. At least that's how they work for me. So let's see if we can get one of these. What would they do differently now the time has gone by? Ooh, what was that? Okay. All right, keys on a ring. Many options, decision, unconventional, string along, one night stand. Okay, so that makes sense to me too, because again, that 2 of Swords is an energy of decision, right? You have to make a choice sometimes. And I did say that earlier, but this also falls in line with this card, decision, but at the same time, if they strung you along because they couldn't make up their mind, or they couldn't find a compromise, again, a stalemate energy, right? It was just dragging along. So the idea of what I felt earlier in the very, very beginning of this reading was that they kind of, it's the shit or get off the pot idea, right? Make up your mind already. You don't know what you want, so that kind of thing. And somebody else could have gotten tired of it, right? Somebody else could have decided, okay, you know what, you don't know what you want with this connection, so I'm gonna have to cut my losses and get out of here. I think that's what some of that was all about, and that feels like that stringing along energy, leaving somebody breadcrumbs. And then at the same time, you know, with the Two of Swords, they might have had options elsewhere. I don't know. Maybe that's what a little bit of the indecision is all about. They couldn't really decide and decide to work on it. So let's get one of these. See if we can get. Let's get one of these here. So what would they do differently? Stack number 3. Viewers. One card. Okay, so it says old friends are good memories. So maybe that's all it is right now. Again, the idea of acceptance. I'm learning to accept the things I cannot change. It's a little bit of surrender, right? So they made some mistakes. It feels like now they're learning to accept what they did wrong at the time for what it is, and it's like, well, I can't go back and change time, so let me just accept it for what it is, learn from that, and move on. I'll kind of like keep the memories I have for now and just hold that, right? Hold on to the memories. So you might have been friends with this person. You might have been maybe not lovers, but just friends for some of you, and now it kind of feels like what's there is memories now. Memories of good times instead. So maybe focusing on what was positive in the connection rather than what was negative about it. I think somebody failed to right the wrongs, though, and work on it. Maybe work on the friendship, maybe work on the love. You know, come to a conclusion or a decision as far as what they wanted to do. They kind of didn't decide. Like somebody maybe offered a compromise, but the person kind of just neglected it or let it go instead of doing something about it. And I think that's what your person perhaps regrets and wishes that they would have actually taken the time to work on it, maybe found compromise or accepted the compromise that was offered and gave it effort. Again, the idea of labor with the B, right? It's all about working on the friendship, working on the connection, getting over the power struggles, reflecting. You know, took maybe self-reflection, though, as time has gone by for them to understand that. And again, with the stick, you might have just butted heads a lot, maybe had a little bit of that power struggle energy going back and forth, and maybe at the time the easiest thing to do was just maybe to kind of just let it be. So that's what I have for you, stack number 3 viewers. I hope that this has maybe helped you or connected for you in some way. If it has, please do let me know in the comment section down below, because I like hearing from everybody. And if you want to support this channel further, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing, clicking that bell for notifications so you don't miss any videos, because I upload pretty often. And if you want to book a personal reading with me, all my information is in the description box down below. It's just a matter of checking me out on Etsy, seeing what readings I have available, and you could book a reading whenever you feel led to. So I hope you're well, safe, protected wherever you are. Take care of yourselves and keep shining. Hello, stack number 4 viewers. You chose the Ace of Spades, Ace of Swords. So we're looking at today what your person would do differently if they, you know, if they could, I guess. Hindsight 2020. Now that time has gone by, what would they do differently? So let's take a look. Let's see what it is that they would do differently. Now the time has gone by. Whew, okay, hold on. Get one card. Stack number 4 viewers. Your person. All right. Judgment. I understand that everyone has their own unique paths and challenges. Let's see if we can get 3 tarot cards. Take a look at What is it that they would do differently now the time has gone by? What would they change? What would they do differently? All right, the Nine of Cups. Two of Cups, wow. And the Wheel of Fortune, interesting. I don't know why I'm getting the vibe of, with this card, that maybe they might have misjudged you. The Nine of Cups energy is an energy of like self-satisfaction, self-gratification, being happy on your own, doing your own thing, maybe being content single. So I have to wonder if your person was single, ready to mingle, you know, that kind of thing. And Two of Cups energy, you might have popped into their life unexpectedly with that Wheel of Fortune. And it kind of feels like they weren't ready for you. It kind of feels like they weren't ready for the unexpected twist that maybe life was throwing them with you over here with the Two of Cups. Again, if they were single, living their life, doing well, kind of like, I don't need anybody, I'm happy all by myself. And then you come around unexpectedly, like life kind of threw you at them. Because sometimes that Wheel of Fortune energy, when it does funny things in our life, it, you know, kind of creates a little bit of a twist and a turn where it's like we're not always prepared for what it's throwing our way. But if we just surrender to it, you know, because the Wheel of Fortune does usher in change. If we just surrender to the changes that are coming our way and we just flow with them, oftentimes it's bringing us something very fortuitous. So I have to wonder if they misjudged the connection, right? That the universe was kind of trying to usher into their life. I'm also hearing the word misled. It might have been misled in some way. But look at this card, how cute. You have the two little birds, the two little worms. Everything's in twos. So definitely soulmate energy here. Divine counterpart, possibly, yes. A connection where, you know, you form a bond. You see, you have that something, right? You have a kindred spirit here. A kindred spirit connection with this person. But for whatever reason, I'm getting the feeling that they didn't want to give up their single life, or they were maybe single for a really long time, and then suddenly you show up out of nowhere, and it's like they weren't ready to make that transition into coupledom for whatever reason, is what I'm getting. Let me see if I can get... Okay, another thing, hold on. Another thing I'm just picking up from the Wheel of Fortune is, again, it's a transitionary energy card. So there's a lot of them in the tarot. You have the Death card, you have the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Judgment. Oh, Judgment, right? Look at that. Light bulb moment. So you have the Judgment. You have the World, right? So transitionary energy cards. And I think your person might have been going through some major life changes or something like that. Or you, maybe even you, right? We're going through some major changes. But it really does feel like your person was going through major changes, major transition in their life. And maybe there was something about the timing. Maybe it was bad timing. To them, at least, at the time. And that's what this feels like. It's like I misjudged the situation, or I wasn't ready at the time. That's kind of what this is feeling like. I wasn't ready at the time. Maybe because they were going through major changes. The Wheel of Fortune is always trying to have something fall off the wheel in order to make room for something new to hop on, you know? It is this kind of energy. Like one thing has to fall off the wheel in order to make room for something else. And I think that's what was happening. it does feel like they were doing well, they were living their own life, maybe were enjoying single life or living their best life in some way, and then again you show up unexpectedly. Maybe they weren't ready for the connection, maybe they were going through some major life changes at the time. Again, they were maybe releasing some things with the Judgment energy and the Wheel of Fortune. They were releasing some things in their life, and then you show up and it just complicated it. Nonetheless, now that time has gone by, had they just flowed with the relationship or the connection, allowed it to unfold maybe organically, they, like I said, they misjudged or they were misled or something like that. Okay. Oh, the foot. That card always talks about putting your foot down or walking, right? Walking away from something sometimes. Again, the idea of if they could do it differently, maybe they wouldn't walk away. Maybe they would stabilize themselves, ground themselves a little bit better, right? With the foot energy, ground themselves a little bit better to maybe get through the shifts and the changes that they were experiencing at the time that you met, with the Two of Cups. The foot energy also, if I remember correctly, talks about stability and balance. So again, the idea of grounding themselves for stability and balance. I think life was not in perfect balance at the time that you showed up, okay? Maybe they felt like, again, life was throwing them all kinds of curveballs, and there was something about the timing and they weren't necessarily grounded. Okay, well, let me get at least one or two more. Okay, so we have the herb energy. Now, that talks about medicine, right? It can talk about things that are medicinal. It can talk about healing. Well, the Judgment energy in the wheel, again, was making me feel like they were going through a major change or transition. Maybe they were healing from something. And then you show up and it kind of threw them off course or threw them off balance, right, with the foot. Now, the herb also talks about omitting things, adding or omitting things to your daily life, right? Adding or avoiding something. So you can incorporate something to your life or you can omit it with the herb, right? Like medicine. You can incorporate vitamins, you know, or you can choose to omit them from your life. You know, I know it's a weird analogy, but it does talk about adding or omitting. So with that in mind, okay, it kind of gives me the idea that maybe they were going through too many changes in their life and maybe they weren't sure if they could add another layer on top of what they're already going through. So add another layer, meaning like add a relationship on top of everything else they were dealing with, or everything else that they were going through, or all the other changes that they were dealing with. And that's kind of what I felt from the beginning anyway. It's like this idea of, I don't think I'm stable enough to be adding a relationship on top of everything else I'm going through, even though I feel this soul connection. So it kind of feels like they allowed the changes or the shifts that they were experiencing in their life to kind of mislead them or have them veer off, right, in another direction. Maybe that's why the foot was giving me the vibes and maybe walking away. All right, let me grab one more. I couldn't decide. Yeah, see that the stump is talks about when things are cut off before they even had a chance. When something gets cut down too soon. So I think they were going through some things in their life. They weren't stable enough to add in or incorporate in love on top of everything else. That's why they were probably single and, you know, just doing their own thing because it was just easier that way. But then again, like the stump comes in to say there was something here about to grow. There was something here about to grow, but it ended before I even had a chance to really begin. Now, the stump can also talk about removing something, right? You remove a stump. You know, you get one of those big old stump grinders, and it's a tough job to remove a stump. So if I'm considering that idea, they extracted, right, or they removed themselves from the situation, maybe to avoid problems or to avoid pretty much, I don't know, it's like they were extracting themselves or removing themselves from a situation just to avoid any complication is kind of what I'm feeling from this. And if they could do it differently, maybe they would have stabilized themselves enough to see where it could go, or to see what this connection would have brought them. Because just looking at these two cards, or looking at, let's look at all three of them here. They were living their best life. They met you, but I think you, stack number 4 viewer, might have been a catalyst for some major changes in their life. Or you came in the midst of changes that they were experiencing, and they weren't stable enough or balanced enough within themselves to kind of like explore the connection. Even though there was a bond here, they weren't stable enough. That's probably why they walked away from it. They didn't know how to incorporate a relationship into their current circumstances or whatever changes that they were experiencing at the time, and it literally ended before it had a chance to begin with the stump. They misjudged their situation, or maybe you in some way. I'm also getting the vibe of being misled or distracted by all of the shifts and turns and twists and turns that life was throwing them. They were distracted by all of that they couldn't really focus on what was available here with this beautiful Two of Cups. But it's like this thing, hindsight, they can recognize that there was a bond here. And if they could do it over, they would maybe choose to stabilize themselves and see where it could go. Instead of removing themselves from the connection, they would flow with it. They would definitely flow with it. And maybe, take it slow. Like the idea of the herb, of like incorporating things into your diet slowly, you know, that kind of thing, little by little, in doses, right? In doses. So it's like, if they could do it differently, they would incorporate the love or the connection. They would take it slow. They would incorporate the connection, or form the connection with you in doses, like little by little, to see where it could go. It didn't have to be like all at once, but maybe just allow it to flow over time. That's what they would do differently. Instead of walking away from it or just removing themselves completely, they would maybe give it some time to see how it would flow. It's kind of like this feeling of they jumped the gun. They hopped out of it too soon. It didn't have to be that way, though. Because for whatever reason, that foot is again, grounded, stability, but support, right? Think about it. When you're standing upright, it's your feet that hold you upright and give you your whole body support. Dang, we take our feet for granted, don't we? We probably neglect them too. So maybe had they just allowed you to be a source of perhaps support or stability where they didn't have any, right? If their life was a little wacky and out of sorts at the time with that Wheel of Fortune, had they just maybe leaned on you a little bit for support, they could have easily, you know, seen where it went, but they didn't. They kind of like cut it off. Cut it off too soon. Maybe they were scared. It's like, oh, my life is a freaking wreck, and then, you know, the last thing I need is love, or the last thing I need is a relationship on top of all the mess that I'm going through right now. Like, that's kind of what this feels like. But it also feels with the Two of Cups, like maybe, you know, you were trying to be that shoulder or that support, but it was more like, nah, you know, I like you, but you know, I don't know if this is the right thing. I don't need a relationship on top of all the other mess I'm dealing with right now. Like, that's, anyway, that's what this feels like. So, but if they could do it differently, they would lean on you for support. They wouldn't cut it off as soon as they did. They would have allowed it to unfold slowly but surely to see where it would lead. Because there was, with the Two of Cups, a connection there. And Nine of Cups energy does talk about, you know, being happy and content. And there was something about the connection that maybe brought them some sort of happiness and contentment. Nine of Cups can also talk about wish fulfillment. So, you know, be careful what you wish for. Because if your person, that's the thing, if your person was, you know, maybe somewhere hoping for love, and then love showed up when they maybe least expected it or weren't ready for it, I think that threw them off too. Let's see if I can get one of these too. Sometimes I would rather these just jump out at me. Okay, so the relationship's over, no second chances, grow and transform your life. So again, they cut off the connection before it really had a chance to develop. So that's just confirming that, right? No second chances. Maybe they think, you know, it's too late for a second chance. So yeah, it did end before it had a chance to even begin. Or somehow life kind of just flipped the script. And as quickly as, you know, they came into your life, they may have, with the Wheel of Fortune energy, left just as quickly too. Let's see if I can get one of these. Okay, so loss. So issues of loss. Loss issues. So yeah, I mean, you win some, you lose some, you know, that kind of thing. So could it be, stack number 4, that you're the one that got away? That's kind of what this feels like. You might be the one that got away. So again, I could look at this and say, well, they probably had some major shifts, again, with the Wheel of Fortune, major changes that were happening in their life, that their life might have been a little bit of a roller coaster, right? No pun intended with that little Ferris wheel, but their life might have been a little bit of a roller coaster. Maybe they were dealing with some things that they were, I almost want to say, shedding from their life. And maybe, again, adding love was just another layer they weren't ready for. Judgment always talks about freedom and liberation, right? Sometimes we have to lose something in order to truly be free. So I think they might have been, again, letting go of some things at the time. And then you come in and it's just like, oh, I'm not ready. So I think that if they could do it over, they would maybe lean on you for support because there was that bonding connection. They recognize that. Now that time has gone by, they see it. They would have taken it slow, and they wouldn't have cut it off as quickly as they did. Now I think this energy is kind of saying, hey, they might be dealing with the loss of it. You win some, you lose some type thing. They might also have some for whatever reason, I'm getting abandonment issues with this card. But again, it's kind of like this feeling of, you know, if they're looking back on it now and they have a chance to learn from this situation, as this card indicates, grow and transform your life, it says at the bottom, right? They're going to have to kind of learn from that. Learn from the experience that they had with you, because it could have developed into something really pretty here with the Two of Cups. This was soulmate energy. But we see that it ended here because they didn't really give it a chance to see where it could go. But that's their, like, I don't know why I'm getting the vibe of like that's their karma, or that's their lesson to learn from. Because it could be with the way that they cut it off, I don't know if you would give them a second chance. And maybe that's something that they have to live with, right? So stack number 4, this is your reading. I'm going to leave you here. Sorry if I took forever to get that one out to you. But if you feel that it has helped or connected for you, by all means, please do let me know in the comment section down below. Like, share, subscribe. Also, to support this channel, and click that bell for notifications so you don't miss any videos, because I upload pretty often. And if you want to book a personal reading with me, all you have to do is check me out on Etsy, see what readings I have available, and you can book a reading whenever you're guided to. So I'm going to leave you here. Hope you are well, safe, protected wherever you are. Take care of yourselves and keep shining.